Hey guys, I'm AJC. So I've had this question in the back of my mind since I was like 16, going to Guitar Center and looking at the Schecter, Gates, super shreddy models of guitars. I would just stand there, amazed at the exorbitant price for some of the guitars that I was looking at. And I know those of you who are guitarists have also been in this quandary before. Why are guitars so expensive? Now granted, with the Gates model, makes sense. Custom guitar from a fairly well-known guitarist. Okay. But what about this? What about this guy? And what about... Okay, yeah, like this entire company, granted, but they make some really good quality guitars. Still though, why? And mind you, I never got that Gates guitar because at the time I was a brokey. But, okay, so there's a little bit of bias, is what I'm getting at. I'm not trying to make a complete and total case that guitars should be like $5 on eBay, even the best ones. Definitely not. But I do want to look at some of the factors that would contribute to the price of a guitar being so dang high. As time went on though, I got a bit more experience with guitar stuff, and even though I was a certified brokey, I still ended up getting some pretty decent gear that allowed me to kind of sound like Gates would as far as guitar tone goes. Not like technical skill, and sure, it wasn't exact, but it gives a flying flip yap. It was close for the stuff that I was doing. It was great. I mean, I was content. But that then caused me to kind of wonder, as I've been baiting this question throughout the video, like, what are those criteria? What are those factors that actually matter? And then I came across this fine gentleman with his fine video about tonewood. And how tonewood doesn't matter. I was blown away. I was under the assertion that much like with acoustic instruments, the electric guitar had to have a body that would cause the strings to resonate at that beautiful frequency where you unlock transcendence and open your third eye and crap gold for the rest of your life. But I was very, very wrong, clearly. Now, sure, there are going to be objectors like that fine gentleman who owns that fine company that I indicated before. And, let's hear him out for a second, actually. Let's hear him out.
So let me explain to you, and to you, and to you, what this argument is. You ready? They think for an instrument maker, the woods that you make it out of make absolutely no difference.
Not exactly, Mr. Smith. A better way of characterizing the argument for tonewood in the context that's being presented by most people is that tonewood is an incredibly, incredibly diminutive factor when it comes to the overall tone of a guitar that's electric. It matters far more with an acoustic as well as the way the body is shaped, but with an electric guitar, as was proven by the Jim Lill video, tonewood matters significantly less, and pickups matter significantly more.
Which means if I make the guitar out of balsa wood, and I put a rubber nut on it, and a rubber bridge, and the strings are dead, and they're covered in Vaseline, the only thing that makes any difference is the pickup and your new pedal. Is that correct?
This guy must be a really big fan of the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz, the way he's throwing around Strawmans.
Great. I quit. If you were getting a violin made by one of the best makers in Cremona for a violin, would you take his ability away to find the best tone woods for that instrument? No, you wouldn't do it. Would you put Strat saddles on a 1935 D28? Why wouldn't you put Strat saddles on a D28?
And once again, he makes a fantastic argument for tonewood for acoustic instruments, but not for electric. Paul Reed Smith, I'm so sorry. Okay, so judging from what he just said, I'm now inclined to think that the wood does matter because, like with acoustic instruments, the shape and the contour of the body and the quality of the wood, that the better quality wood causes the strings to resonate better. Sort of a immaculate process that occurs when the right wood meets the right electronics and the right parts and the right strings, and then you end up with a beautiful guitar. But going back to your boy, Paul Reed Smith, I think you're an amazing human being, but I also think you're a bit stuck in the past. Consider, for a moment, carbon fiber violins. These little rodents have been around for a good amount of time now, and here's a guy who's a member of a philharmonic orchestra who prefers them, and he seems to think that they're good. And there's a lot of electric violinists who play that use carbon fiber instruments, and it doesn't really affect the quality of their tone. Now, I don't mean to compare apples to oranges, but if you have an instrument, that instrument has a pickup on it, and that pickup placed on point A, and the strings are on point B going to point A, and it sounds the exact same as that vintage guitar that we saw before, I'm inclined to think that maybe, possibly, potentially, you can get away with something like a carbon fiber guitar and having the exact same audio quality. Now here is where I play devil's advocate, because it's not really about the tone for the wood that you're going to make your case for the wood, okay? So I'm kind of trying to play both sides here, trying to be fair, to the Paul Reed Smiths, great guys, great luthiers, excellent craftsmen. The problem with their arguments is that they need to come at it from the standpoint of physical quality. You're presenting your instrument. It's like, yes, this is the profile of it. It's a solid guitar, not necessarily solid body, some of them are, but it's a solid guitar, feels nice in your hands, and that has a huge impact on your performance. Performance wood. Let's go there, as opposed to, granted, finish matters more than the wood itself, but, if you're gonna make the argument, I'm giving you rope, okay? I'm giving you rope. Doing my best to give you rope. So, look, I say all of this basically to say that I kind of want to try to get into this field a little bit. I would be very curious to see, yes, if a carbon fiber guitar with some halfway decent pickups on it would actually sound the same as a guitar that has those same pickups on it that's actually super high priced, or at least reasonably high priced. That's an experiment I want to do in a future video. I currently don't have the budget for it, the moolah shmoolah. Maybe one of you guys out there with freaking bajillions of dollars, because I know there's at least 5 millionaires who watch me. But, one of you guys, try it out. Get make sure the pickups are the same. That would be the test. If you guys beat me to it, definitely. But that's a test I want to do in a video, regardless if somebody else does it or not. I'm even considering getting a 3D printer for that specific purpose and seeing how it goes, because I'm really big on modeling things in Blender and things like that, as well as music stuff. So we'll see. I really want to do that test. That might be a part 2. So, in summary, why are guitars so expensive? In part because of certain antiquated theories about tone, like tonewood. In part because of name brands, brand loyalty, like in the case of Gibson and Fender and PRS. I'm sorry, I don't like to talk smack about PRS. I think they make a really good product, but they're so, So, and then the artist signature guitars. it makes sense, okay? Yeah, you're gonna wanna have a higher markup for that. But when it comes to making a product like a guitar, and you're pricing it at like $800, $900, even if it's just an average model, come on. You don't have to do that. The manufacturing cost, is it really worth that in profit? Is it really worth it to have your name, brand propped up when your product is basically this overinflated stick of wood with some pickups on it? I'm just saying, I don't think it's fair personally. I know I'm gonna get some smack for that, but that's fine. I don't care. I think it would be more fair if there was a market for guitars that actually appealed to consumers in an economy where things are going very badly for the little guy. And it's often the little guys who are the best musicians. I rest my case. I will see you guys in the next video.